Hey everybody, I'm Jay and this is part 8 in my video guide to running the Grimoire campaign setting for Spheres of Power by Drop Dead Studios. This series is inspired by the Spheres of Power world-building semi-contest. So let's get to part 8. Today we're talking about classes. We'll cover the Mage class, as these tend to be a little bit longer than most. Classes, all non-magical classes are allowed in Grimoire. But any spellcaster should follow the rules for the 5 Grimoire-specific spellcaster classes. In-game, these classes are known as by the following names: Mage, which is a wizard variant; Wonderkind, which is a sorcerer variant; Shamans are variants of the shaman archetype; Dendrites are variants of druids; and Exemplars are variants of clerics and witches. We'll explain more about that later. Multi-classing is permitted, but should be directly linked to a PC's character plot, a plot twist, or other story device. The progression of each of these classes is discussed below. Now, the stats of the Grimoire-specific versions of the following classes have not been included in this guide. Instead, please visit spiltinkimaginarium.blogspot.com to see the full Grimoire-specific spellcaster classes. And with that, let's get to mages. Having studied in an academy of arcane education, the mage finds her truest self in the possession and wise use of knowledge. She prizes information above most other treasures and pities the fools who do not have enough sense to use what knowledge they have. To her, magic is a science, empirical and exact, and for this reason, the mage's approach to magic is a practical, methodical, and exhaustive one. A mage in Athanasia begins as a scholar magician in elementary school, where she learns how to harness the classical elements from arcane textbooks called grimoires. There, she also learns the Wizard's Creed, a set of ideological tenets that are intended to guide a mage's actions when using magic. The next step is dueling college, where she learns the form and function of the wizard's duel and focuses her arcane learning toward one or more specializations, or spheres. After graduating, she is known as a mage, and she may wish to join a mage's guild focused in her specialization, or further her education pursuant to becoming an archmage. Those mages who learn the arcane arts outside Eusoria's educational system are known as hedge mages. Among spellcasters, archmages are the academic elite, regarded as the foremost authorities in their specializations, even taking part in composing grimoires for the up-and-coming generation of scholar magicians. Archmages may choose to teach in institutions of arcane learning or establish their own guild. Without exception, however, all archmages aspire to one day become fully fledged wizards. Wizards are spellcasters appointed by the Wizards' Tribunal to be the steward of some powerful magical artifact or crucial ley line. A wizard is granted a tower in order to better safeguard her magical charge, and she receives a personalized staff from the Tribunal as a symbol of her position. Should a wizard ever fail to follow the creed or dishonor the tribunal and her craft, her appointed stewardship is revoked, she is dismissed from her tower, and her staff is broken. The wizard's tribunal is composed of 3 governing members: Alcandros of the Boreans, Kleber of the Leonians, and Ipictok of the Seraphim, each of whom holds one of the 3 remaining staves of power. Based out of the Tower of Towers, the tribunal oversees the creation of arcane curriculum, enforces the proper use of magic by the Wizard's Creed, and monitors the activities of all Wizards' Towers across Athanasia. Throughout a scholar magician's education, career as a mage, and her potential appointment as a wizard, she is always seeking knowledge from any source available. The most accessible source is a network of formless ambient intelligences that pervade the length and breadth of Athanasia. According to extensive magical research, these intelligences are theorized to be the state of Fey beings before they materialize in the Fey realm. Regardless of their true nature, however, they are employed constantly to aid a mage in her research. The subject of a mage's research is most often words of power from the language of the strangers, also known as Druidic, a language that actually defies being written and is only comprehensively understood by the Dendrites. The Wizards' Tribunal has formally requested that the Circle divulge the language many times, always with the provision that its use would be duly regulated, but over the centuries the Circle has consistently refused. Spheres that mages tend to use. Mages from Eusoria consider at least some of their knowledge in divination and destruction as essential components of their magical education. Beyond this, they're equally likely likely to learn any other sphere, with the sole exception of the death sphere, necromancy, which is forbidden by the tenets of the Wizard's Creed. Hedge mages from inside or outside usurious boundaries do not follow the creed and acknowledge no such limitations, much to their dismay when the tribunal sends representatives to censure them. Adapting mages to Grimoire, the mage class is most like the incanter class from Spheres of Power, using intelligence from the casting ability modifier and the sphere specialization class feature. Due to the mage's reliance on a grimoire to cast spells, the focus casting drawback is recommended. This grants the mage bonus spell points accordingly, which are traditionally reserved for her specialization sphere. Given the mage's training in magical dueling, GMs might consider giving mages counterspell as a bonus feat at 4th level instead of the usual bonus feat. All right, so that wraps it up for part 8 of our Spheres of Power guide for Grimoire. We'll hope to see you in part 9. See ya!